Hey, just want to thank everybody for being here. We're really fortunate to be on the grass this time of year. We didn't have that luxury last year. I really appreciate our guys that are here working hard, trying to get better. With that, I'll take any questions.
Go ahead and put your names in the chat. We'll get you. Matthew, followed by Andrew.
Hey, Clint, you kind of alluded to it there, but just the biggest difference from last year and not having this and trying to teach young players all through Zoom to being able to get the young players out and have the rookie mini camp. Just how much different is that for you?
Yeah, it's a blessing because last year we're doing all this on our computers, teaching Justin Jefferson, our playbook online every day. It's so much different than getting to physically do it. So it's a real advantage for us right now to have these guys out here practicing, and their attitudes are excellent. Coach Zimmer has a great plan every day. We're getting great situational work. You just can't beat being on the grass.
Andrew, followed by Chris.
Hey, Clint, I know you did a lot of work with Kellen Mond in the pre-draft process. What have your impressions been of him since you got him in the building here and on the field? And what's the process like of making sure he's kind of taking everything in stride and translating that onto the field?
Yeah, I will say he's been a quick study. He's here early, leaves late. He really possesses all those quarterback traits that you want mentally, and right now he's working, is on the field. We're throwing a lot at him. We're making it hard for him, and he's responding well. But, Rick Spielman, Coach Zimmer, and the scouting staff do an excellent job in the draft, identifying these guys.
Chris, followed by Eric.
Oh, hey, Clint, how you doing? Offensive line question. What's the thinking about moving Ezra Cleveland to the left side at guard, immediately, and then obviously Dakota's gone to the right side after being at the left. And then how about the rookies? Do they kind of have to potentially earn their way to the first team, that being Darisaw and Davis?
Absolutely, yeah. We want those guys to earn their stripes, and we got, it's a lot of things that are new to them right now. So we got good veteran coaches with Rick and Phil, getting those young guys ready to play. But the mindset right now, we want to move some guys around and see, Ezra left, we can get Dakota right. Those guys are, they're Swiss Army knives. They know many positions. So we want to make sure they know as many as possible because things happen in the season and you got to move guys around. This is the time of year to try those things out. So I'm very happy with our rookies thus far. They've been working their tails off. Again, I can't say enough about their coaching. There's none better in the NFL. Rick Dennison and Phil Roush are unbelievable guys.
Eric, followed by Courtney.
Hey, Clint, kind of building off that question about the rookies. We heard around the draft, there was kind of a directive from Coach Zim to get some bigger size up front with, I think, Darisaw and Davis. Why is that important to kind of get, I think, a little bit more beef up front?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, you just definitely want to find the best player that fits our system, and those guys, that's probably a better question, honestly, for Rick Spielman as to, the prototypes that you want. But I know we got some really smart players that can, play some multiple positions, but, guys are going to work hard, and it's a bonus that they're big. Obviously, the defensive line's getting bigger and faster, and you got to match them with the offensive line. But our offensive line has to be really versatile. They got to run block, they got to pass block. We want to play with tempo, so they got to be in great shape, got to be athletic, and those guys definitely fit the bill.
Courtney, followed by Dawn.
Hi, Clint. I know it's probably a little early to ask this, but we haven't had a chance to talk to you about, a whole lot with, personnel and stuff with the offense. As far as Dalvin goes, 356 touches last year. As you plan out the offseason and plan out what this year could look like for him, how do you go about managing a workload like that, knowing what he had to tack onto his body last year, but also what history has shown us with running backs who have had that many touches, and then the next year being able to kind of manage that so he doesn't get hurt again?
That's a really good question, and honestly, he's got an unbelievable coach too, Kennedy Palamahu, who's always tracking those things, and our strength staff monitoring their workload and practice every day with the GPS tracker. So we're aware of his touches. We're going to manage them, but we also want to get him plenty of work because, like all players, they need repetition to improve. So we'll definitely monitor them and make sure that come the season that he's hitting his stride then, as opposed to right now during OTAs.
Hey, Don, then Ben.
And you talked about Justin Jefferson not having this luxury last year, and he was still unbelievable. Now going into the sophomore season, what do you now, as his coordinator, have to watch against in terms of sophomore slump, which it doesn't look like that would be the case, but what's the biggest hurdle when a guy has so much success his first year coming into the second?
Well, I think I know we drafted a high-quality character guy in Justin, a very intelligent guy who he's smart enough to know that he's going to have to work even harder now to get the same production. And we're not going to focus on the big picture, just kind of work on the little things, work on getting better one day in practice. And here's 2 routes to get better at today, and then let's stack those days for 10 OTAs, 3 mini camp days, and throughout training camp, and we'll see what the final product is. But again, I can't say enough about Rick Spielman and his staff. They identify these high football character individuals, and he's a great example of that.
Ben, then Sam.
Hey, Clint, just wanted to ask you about those the soft shell helmets we've seen guys use in the last couple of days. I guess, how did those come into the practice process for you, and what's the main purpose of those in the course of OTAs here?
It's definitely a question better suited for Coach Zimmer, but I know just it controls the tempo up front. But I would ask him more for the details. They do look goofy, but the guys are responding well to them. It's hard to hear because they're so tight on their ears. You got to be louder in the huddle. Other than that, it's been business as usual.
But it's more of a teaching tool than a player comfort thing. Is that the way you kind of look at it?
I don't want to speak on it. I'd rather let Coach answer it. It's controlled the tempo up front is the main thing. The collisions up front are smaller this time of year with no pads on.
Hey, Clint,
Sam, Chris?
well, yeah, what are some steps that you want to see Irv Smith take this year now, in the absence of Kyle Rudolph? Obviously, he's going to be getting a promotion.
Another great question. First of all, Irv has come back in phenomenal shape. He's really been working at it since we last saw him in the building. But I don't want him to do anything different. I want him to be himself, and now he's going to have more opportunities, and I'm excited to see what he does with it. But just want to push him in the day-to-day, just like we said with Justin, to get better at a few things every day and just get some aggregate gains and put those forward toward the payoff in the season.
Hey, Clint, I know that he's on the opposite side of the ball, but how cool is it just seeing Cameron Smith out there on the practice field after he went open heart surgery just last August?
What a phenomenal young man. And, even before his surgery, he's one of the first guys in every day. He loves football, and he's been working hard to get back. But it's a great story, but none of us are surprised about that. We've known his character before that, and I'm glad to see him back on the grass.
Matthew?
Hey, Clint, as a team that uses a lot of 2 tight end type sets, what do you look for when it comes to that wide receiver 3 position? We saw kind of Chad Beebe emerge last year and make some big plays at times, and now you kind of have a lot of different people in there. So what are you looking for from that spot in this offense that will use a lot of tight ends?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. And, we have some guys that fit that bill, the third receiver, but, there's a lot of competition there. Chad has experience. Olabisi Johnson has experience. We have some young receivers that are really pushing them right now. And just like you said, those 2 tight ends, they can play wide out too. Those guys are extremely versatile. They're complete tight ends, run, block, line up in a 2-point stance and go run at you. So in addition to that, we have our halfbacks that we're going to use in the pass game as well. So there's no criteria. It's like who's the third best wideout. It might be a tight end. It might be the halfback in the game at that point. But we have a lot of options, and we're working on identifying who those options are come the fall.